Art god. With over 2 million followers across platforms, Wallop has earned this name in the digital art world. The way they paint jewelry, hair, lighting has become the art style goal of many. It's truly peak skills honed through undoubtedly years of hard work and dedication. And I, a delusional self-taught wannabe artist, attempted to recreate a Wallop style painting to see what I can learn. No tutorial, one brush, one day, 5 hours, 5 things I've learned. Let's go. Lesson 1, be delusional. Hear me out. Wallop, art god, me, wannabe artist, simple math. No delusional mindset equals no motivation to even start. So number 1, step 1, lesson 1, you gotta be delusional. This is the root for if you ever want to do something out of your comfort zone. Really quickly onto lesson 2. Brushes do but don't matter. After looking through a few of their videos, I couldn't pinpoint exactly what brush they use. It looked like a round brush, but I wasn't sure. Especially since they use Photoshop and I use Procreate, we might not even have the same compatible brush for both programs. But I tried out the round brush anyways at first. It was just like, I didn't really like it. I feel like I couldn't even achieve their style with it. It was just a little bit bulky and harsh. So I used the holy grail known as the yummy textured coloring brush. So yep, I literally just used this brush for the entire thing. Worked pretty good, and I put it in the description if you want to download it. 10 out of 10. So in a way, brushes do, because this brush was pretty good, but then don't because I didn't use the same brush. Yeah, you can see it both ways. Lesson 3, the 2 P problems. P problem number 1, perspective. Wallop uses 3D rendering for intense perspective and props. I had one day and clearly I cannot learn an entire program in one day. So to fix the perspective problem, I used Pinterest to find references, and I like using multiple references and just kind of like mashing them into one, and it worked out pretty well. P problem number 2, proportions. So this is my typical style versus the semi-realism that they use. It's quite different in terms of proportions. So to fix the proportions problem, I utilize the lasso and liquify tool a lot. Super good, love it. This is why I love digital art. It's so efficient and effective, which means try to do things on different layers so it's easier to play around with each separate component. Another way to fix the proportions problem, if you are a beginner artist just starting out, I recommend using stamps. So here are some that I highly recommend. There's hands, different mouth, face shapes, hairstyles, expressions, all that. And you can just play around with the proportions to find a style or pose that you like, because I know sometimes it's hard to just like visualize with a blank canvas. So just having a base down just makes it a little bit easier. It's also just great for rendering practice, which leads me to the next thing I learned. Lesson 4, simplified messy rendering equals somehow detailed rendering. Let me explain. If we zoom in real close into Wallop's drawings, we can see that it's actually quite quote unquote messy. There's no real line art that they're trying to color within. The shapes look like little blobs just hanging out, but like once you zoom out, boom, masterpiece. So what I learned from this is when you are in the rendering stage, don't be afraid to color outside of the lines. Messy does not equal undone or bad, and try to render without zooming in too much. Look at the piece as a whole, not separate components. For example, if I zoom into this girl's dress, we can see like, okay, what's going on with this? It's kind of messy. Don't really know what I'm doing, but when you zoom out, it looks like a fully rendered dress, right? I hope. And then lesson number 5, saturationation. I like rhyming words. So Wallop uses bright colors, plays with lighting to give it a darker atmospheric vibe. And I'm so used to using desaturated colors that trying saturated, brighter colors was pretty cool. 10 out of 10 would recommend trying it out. Also, between you and me, sometimes I just use the desaturated colors to hide behind the fact that I don't really know what I'm doing. It's much more forgiving on shading. You can see here, like what is even going on. So I noticed when you use saturated and highly contrasted colors, you can't really hide behind anything, which means you're actually learning a lot about shading. The contrast has got a contrast to make it pop, you know what I mean? And boom, here we go, final piece. Sorry, I genuinely just want to see how many effects I could put on this. So this took about 5 hours and 40 minutes. I'd give myself like an 8 out of 10. I don't know. What would you rate me? It's not terrible, right? Right? Anyway, so if you're ever bored, feeling a little bit delusional, try this out. I recommend. You got this.